How my friend in 10th grade became a hunter of betrayers after being infected with HIV due to reckless sex. Part 1. The beginning of the fall. Hi, Reddit. This is my first post, and I just want to share the story of how my best friend Alisa's life fell apart in just a few months. We're both in the 10th grade at an ordinary shul in Lviv, nothing special. But what happened to her still shocks me, even though we've been friends since childhood. I never thought someone so kind and open could fall into such darkness. It all started in the fall of last year, in October 2023. Alisa was dating a guy named Andrei who was in a parallel class. They had been together since June, and everyone at school envied their relationship. They seemed perfect. She trusted him completely. Things were serious between them, even though we're still just teenagers. Alisa often told me it was true love, and she felt it was forever, but things changed. In December, about 2 weeks before winter break, Alisa looked really sick, constantly tired, running a fever, and she almost fainted a few times during gym class. I didn't think much of it at the time, assuming she was just overworked from studying and prepping for exams. But it turned out to be much worse. In January 2024, Alisa found out she had contracted HIV. It was a complete catastrophe for her. She had gone for medical tests and told me about it in February during a break between classes. I remember her sitting in the corner of the hallway, covering her face with her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. I was in shock. She told me that Andrei had cheated on her and lied about his health. He never told her he was infected. It felt like a bad dream, but the harsh reality hit with every word she said. That's when I noticed Alisa beginning to change. At first, it was just depression. She stopped coming to classes and often locked herself up at home. But what scared me the most was the internal struggle I saw in her. She started saying that life had lost all meaning, that she couldn't trust anyone anymore. I saw how deeply her trust had been shattered, and it was breaking her. She stopped believing in love, in people. And even worse, she began talking about revenge. One time, during one of our conversations at the end of February, she said, "If they destroyed me, why can't I do the same to others?" I didn't understand what she meant back then, but I could already sense she was heading down a dark path. Comments, Reddit, this is really terrifying. I've seen how people change after betrayals like this. But Alisa needs help before she does something she'll regret. I can't imagine what she's going through. HIV isn't just a disease, it's the social stigma that comes with it. It's hard to live with that, especially when you've been betrayed by someone you trusted. I've been through betrayal too, but this. She really needs to find support. Revenge could destroy her even more. This is such a painful story, but I hope she finds a way out. Maybe therapy could help her. Hello everyone again. It's difficult for me to write this continuation, but after seeing the reactions to the first part of Alisa's story, I realized I had to share what happened next. It's not easy, because now I see how her struggle has turned into something far more dangerous than I ever could have imagined. After that conversation in February 2024, when she first mentioned revenge, everything started going downhill. Alisa was no longer the girl I had known since childhood. She began saying things that scared me. For example, once she said, "Why did this happen to me? If I am forced to live with this, why should they get away with it?" Her eyes were cold then, nothing like they used to be. In March, she started acting differently. I remember on March 10, 2024, after school, we were walking home, and she suddenly stopped in front of a cafe called Zadyshok on Dovzhenko Street, where the older students usually hung out. She saw Andrei there, the guy who had lied to her and infected her. His laughter echoed through the cafe window as if everything was fine, as if he had done nothing wrong. At that moment, I realized Alisa had made her final decision. Her face twisted with rage. She whispered, "They all have to pay." A few days later, she told me she'd started talking to other guys from school who were rumored to be cheaters. She specifically chose those who were known for being unfaithful. These weren't just rumors. Everyone knew these guys were cheating on their girlfriends. She began flirting with them, acting like everything in her life was normal. But I knew it wasn't. One day, on March 25th, after classes, I noticed her talking to Victor, a guy from 11th grade who was always seen as the party king. He was known for dating multiple girls at once, and it wasn't a secret. Everyone thought he was cool, but to Alisa, he became the next target. She struck up a conversation with him, as if trying to seduce him, and a few days later, I found out they had spent the night together. From that point on, things got even worse. Her eyes no longer shone with warmth. They became cold and empty. She started saying she didn't feel anything except anger. Her life had turned into a constant struggle between destroying others and feeling her own emptiness. One time, on April 1st, she confessed to me, "I thought revenge would bring me relief, but now I just feel emptiness inside. I'd become just like them, soulless. I didn't recognize my friend anymore." She was on the edge of a cliff, and I didn't know how to pull her back. Her world had crumbled, and instead of seeking help, she was looking for ways to inflict the same pain on others. I'm scared for her. I don't know where this will lead. Reddit comments, "This is terrifying. I feel sorry for your friend, but she needs to find a way to heal emotionally. Revenge never brings relief, it only deepens the pain." Alisa is in despair. She's trying to find control in a situation where she feels powerless. It's crucial for her to get professional help, or this could end in tragedy. Watching someone destroy themselves because of pain and betrayal is incredibly hard, but you're a strong friend for standing by her. Maybe you're the one who can help her find her way back to herself. Despair can push us to do terrible things. I hope she finds the strength to choose a different path. Hello, Reddit. This is the third part of the story about my best friend, Alisa. It's getting harder to write because the events I'm about to share have turned everything upside down. If you've read the previous parts, you know how her life changed after she found out about the HIV infection, which she contracted from her boyfriend. But now, things have gone way too far. By the beginning of April 2024, I understood that Alisa was on the edge. She was no longer the girl I had known since childhood. On April 2nd, after school at our school on Ivana Franka Street, we went to her favorite spot, the park near the lake in Stryjski Park. This place always helped her calm down, but that day I felt like even this park couldn't ease her pain. She sat on a bench, staring at the water, as if trying to find answers to her inner questions there. The silence was broken by her words. "I feel like even nature has turned its back on me." That evening, Alisa confessed that she had already infected several boys from school, including Victor and Dennis from the parallel class. She spoke about it with a cold, indifferent tone, as if it were something ordinary. "They deserved it," she said, not even looking me in the eyes. Her words were filled with an emptiness I hadn't noticed before. This was no longer just about revenge, it was something deeper, something that was turning her into a different person. On April 10th, something happened that changed everything. We were sitting in the school cafeteria when one of the boys she had infected, Dennis, found out about his diagnosis. I'm not sure how exactly he got the news, but when he stormed into the cafeteria, the whole school silently watched his pale, devastated face. He went straight to Alisa. His words cut through the air. "You knew. You knew and did it on purpose." I'll never forget that moment. The cafeteria froze, like during an earthquake. He stood in front of her, furious but also broken. I could see his life falling apart right before my eyes. Alisa didn't deny it. She just looked at him, and I realized she didn't feel anything anymore. No regret, no fear. She only said, "You deserve this as much as the rest of them." Dennis ran out of the cafeteria, and that moment was a turning point. Rumors started spreading. There were a lot of suspicions and gossip at school, but no one could openly accuse Alisa. She had done everything so carefully that no one had concrete proof. However, this incident awoke a deep fear in me. I knew her pain had brought her to this point, but now I saw how she was dragging others into her abyss. I tried talking to her after that incident, but she didn't want to listen anymore. "You don't understand," she told me on April 11 after school. "Their betrayals deserve punishment. I'm just the executor of their fate." I was lost. Her world had become so twisted that I no longer saw the kind Alisa I once knew. Her inner world was completely shattered. I could feel her deep suffering, but at the same time, I couldn't stop her. Every day, I waited for the next blow, the next moment when she would harm someone else, or worse, herself. Reddit comments, "This is horrifying. Her pain is completely understandable, but what she's doing is a path to self-destruction. She's only worsening her own condition and ruining others. It's like she's built a trap around herself. Her despair is pushing her to destroy others. I feel for her, but she needs help. This is hard to read. I understand her anger, but this is more than just revenge. She's seeking justification for her pain, but in doing so, she's only making things worse. Your friend has lost herself. She needs to find someone who can pull her out of this abyss before she completely destroys herself. Hello, Reddit. I never thought I would return to this story, but the events of the past few weeks forced me to continue. If you've read the previous parts, you know how my best friend Alisa changed after she found out about her HIV infection. However, things have now escalated even further, and honestly, I'm afraid of what might happen next. After the incident with Dennis on April 10th, tensions at our school became unbearable. Students started suspecting each other. With each passing day, rumors about someone deliberately infecting boys spread more and more. Alisa, however, acted as if nothing had happened. She continued attending school, but I could see that inside, she was completely different. Her gaze had become empty. It seemed like she had lost any connection to reality. One day, on April 18, 2024, we were sitting in the back courtyard of our school on Franca Street. That day was unusually quiet, as if all the students could feel some sort of tension in the air. Alisa started talking about revenge again, but this time her words were even more sinister. She said, "You know, sometimes I think this is the only way to show them what justice is. No one thinks about how their lies and betrayals can destroy someone's life. They only think about themselves." I tried to stop her, to convince her that she couldn't keep doing this. But Alisa was no longer the person I once knew. She was trapped in her own prison, a prison of a broken heart and shattered hopes. She felt like she had lost control of her life, and now she was trying to find that control by destroying the lives of others. On April 24th, something happened that put an end to what I had still been trying to justify. That day, Alisa started getting close to Maxim, a guy from class 11A who was known for his side romances. Everyone knew he was cheating on his girlfriend, but his popularity among girls made it invisible to most. Alisa decided he would be her next target. I remember her telling me during a break, "He doesn't know what's coming for him." Her voice was calm, and that made it even scarier. On April 29th, she spent the night with Maxim. The next day, sitting on the same bench in Stryjewski Park, she talked again about her mission. She didn't even feel any doubt or fear about what she was doing. "He deserved it, just like all the others," she told me, staring at trees budding under the spring sun. At that moment, I realized I had lost my friend. She couldn't stop anymore. This became her own sentence. She kept trying to convince herself that her actions were justified, but in reality, she was just sinking deeper into darkness. I couldn't stand by any longer and watch this. But what can you do when someone has chosen to destroy themselves and everything around them? Reddit comments, "This is just heartbreaking. I feel your pain for your friend, but she's crossing a line. Shen's help. Immediately, she's looking for a way out of this hell, but she's choosing the wrong path. Try reaching out to an adult or the school counselor. She might need professional help before it's too late. This is a horrible situation, but as her friend, you must do everything you can to stop her. Her path leads to nothing good, and it will end in tragedy for everyone. This is very difficult, but you're strong for trying to support her. Maybe you're the only one who can still save her from herself."